July 30th, 1975, a hot summer afternoon in suburban Detroit. Jimmy Hoffa, once the most powerful labor leader in America, stood waiting outside the Mancus Red Fox restaurant. He was supposed to meet two mobsters he knew well, but by nightfall, Hoffa was gone. His car sat abandoned in the parking lot. His friends and enemies swore they hadn't seen him, and from that day on, Jimmy Hoffa was never seen again. James Riddle Hoffa was born in 1913 in Brazil, Indiana. His father, a coal miner, died when Jimmy was just 7. Growing up poor during the Depression, Hoffa knew the struggles of a working man firsthand. By his teens, he had joined the labor movement, organizing workers against abusive employers. His talent was obvious. Hoffa was tough, persuasive, and fearless. By the 1940s, he had risen through the ranks of the Teamsters Union. Under Hoffa, the Teamsters grew into the largest labor union in the United States, representing more than 2 million truck drivers and workers. Hoffa was admired by members for his ability to secure higher wages, better pensions, and job security, but his success came with a price. To expand his power, Hoffa turned to organized crime. Hoffa struck deals with the Mafia, who used the Teamsters' massive pension fund as their private bank. Millions of dollars were funneled into mob-run casinos, hotels, and construction projects in Las Vegas and beyond. In return, Hoffa got muscle when he needed, enforcing strikes, intimidating rivals, and keeping control of his empire. But those ties drew government attention. Senator Robert F. Kennedy, as chief counsel for the Senate Rackets Committee, made Hoffa his prime target. The hearings were explosive, with Kennedy calling Hoffa, quote, the most dangerous man in America, end quote. Hoffa in turn mocked and sparred with Kennedy, smiling as he refused to bend.
I am not controlled by him, but by the same token, I do not intend to go around and abuse the provisions of the Constitution of the International Union, of which you accuse Mr. Beck of doing by having dictatorial powers. I want to be able to follow the Constitution in due time. This situation will be cleared up. If you recall, I took office almost just about February 1. I went through a long trial in New York, which tied me up. I had a question of the monitors, which tied me up. And I haven't had much opportunity to do the normal duties that would have taken place if all of the various incidents hadn't came about during my short period of time as General President. In due time, these situations will be cleared up.
Mr. Hoffa, that would make a great deal of sense. I'd be very sympathetic if it wasn't for the fact that a majority of these people are in the Central States Conference. And people under your jurisdiction, you've got people in Detroit, at least 15 who have police records. You've got Joey Glimpo in Chicago. I say you're not tough enough to get rid of these people. You're in with every gangster and hoodlum in the United States.
I know a lot of people.
You're in with every place that you go. You're associated with the leading gangsters and racketeers in the United States. And it's not so shocking that you should be involved in taking the Greenleaf money.
Mr. Kennedy, it is shocking. They even involve a man with that kind of blood-taint money. And I don't go for that, Mr. Kennedy. I don't go for that kind of action.
Well, then you could have arranged that, not going for that kind of action, by disassociating yourself many years ago from Joe Costello.
Why?
You could have done it from John Vitale. Every place you go, you check your telephone numbers, you're calling every gangster in the United States.
Mr. Kennedy, what has happened maybe in the past life of people today, maybe
You've got Lieutenant Shoulder's son working for the Teamsters Union.
they may be nice people today. You don't give them a chance to prove they're nice. They may be nice people.
It was a battle of power and ego, and for a while, Hoffa seemed untouchable. In 1964, Hoffa's luck ran out. He was convicted of jury tampering, attempted bribery, and fraud. Sentenced to 13 years, he reported to prison in 1967. Even behind bars, Hoffa pulled strings, running the union through loyalists on the outside. But in 1971, President Richard Nixon commuted Hoffa's sentence on one condition: he could not engage in union activity until 1980. For Hoffa, that was unacceptable. He wanted his power back immediately, and that ambition may have sealed his fate. Hoffa announced his comeback, challenging Frank Fitzsimmons, his former deputy who now led the Teamsters, with the Mafia's blessing. The mob didn't want Hoffa back in charge. He knew too much, asked too many questions, and threatened their control of the pension fund. By 1975, tensions had reached a breaking point. On July 30th, 1975, Hoffa told his wife he was meeting Anthony Tony Provenzo, a New Jersey Teamster leader with mob ties, and Anthony Giacalone, a Detroit mobster. Both men later denied they had any meeting planned. At 2 p.m., Hoffa arrived at the Macus Red Fox restaurant in Bloomfield Township. He waited in the parking lot, growing impatient. Witnesses later reported seeing him pacing, checking his watch, and even calling home. At 2:30, he phoned his wife saying, quote, "They're late, but I'll be home for dinner," end quote. That was the last anyone heard from him. By nightfall, Hoffa's car was found still parked outside the restaurant. His belongings were inside, but Hoffa was gone, vanished in broad daylight in a crowded suburb. The FBI launched one of the largest investigations in its history. Dozens of suspects were questioned, but the Mafia's code of silence, omerta, held firm. Provenzo and Giacalone both claimed they had alibis. Others, like Hoffa's foster son Charles Chucky O'Brien, were suspected of driving the car that took Hoffa to his death, but no charges were ever stuck. Theories spread quickly. Some claimed Hoffa was strangled in the back of a car, his body cremated in a mob-controlled incinerator. Others said he was buried beneath a construction site or poured into concrete foundation of Giants Stadium in New Jersey. Each lead made headlines, each proven fruitless. Over the decades, countless theories emerged. Did Tony Provenzano order the hit, fearing Hoffa's return? Did the Giacalone brothers lure him into the Red Fox as part of a setup? Was Chucky O'Brien, Hoffa's trusted aide, the driver who unknowingly delivered him to his killers? One of the most sensational claims came from Frank the Irishman Sheeran, a mob hitman who, shortly before his death in 2003, confessed to killing Hoffa. His story inspired the film The Irishman, but the FBI found no physical evidence to support his account. Others believe Hoffa's remains were incinerated at a Detroit trash facility or buried under a horse farm in Michigan. Over the years, the FBI has dug up fields, searched rivers, and tested sites with ground-penetrating radar. Each time, they found nothing. Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance remains one of America's most enduring mysteries. Union members, he was once a hero. To union members, he was a hero who fought for the working man. To law enforcement, he was a corrupt boss who sold out to the mob. To the public, he became a legend. His name synonymous with vanishing without a trace. Hoffa's wife, Josephine, lived until 1980, never learning of what happened to her husband. His children carried on with the burden of the mystery, and the Teamsters moved on, reshaped by the shadow of his absence. Jimmy Hoffa walked into the suburban restaurant on a summer afternoon and disappeared forever. No body, no conviction, no closure. Just questions that echo nearly 50 years later. Was Hoffa silenced by the Mafia he once partnered with, betrayed by his closest allies, or did he fall victim to a power struggle that consumed him whole? The truth about Jimmy Hoffa's fate may be buried forever, but the legend of his disappearance will never die.